Hello, I'm Cindy Arenberg Seltzer, President and CEO of the Children's Services Council of Broward County. Welcome to another edition of Future First, Focus on Broward's Children. Good intentions can interfere with positive results. Until recently, for example, federal and state funding available to help disadvantaged youth successfully navigate graduating high school and transitioning to higher education or employment was structured in ways that precluded many students in need from taking advantage of available benefits. The new Federal Performance Partnership Pilots, or P3, targets youth at risk of dropping out of school and provides waivers from some of the federal rules in a way that we hope will make a huge difference in the lives of many youth. As we discussed in a previous episode of this program with U.S. Representatives Alcee, Hastings, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz, in October of 2015, the CSC was selected as one of the first 9 entities nationwide to receive funding and permission to break some silos for our proposed Best Opportunities to Shine and Succeed, or BOSS program. BOSS brings to the table many community partners, some of whom are joining us here today to discuss how each of their pieces will fit this exciting but complex puzzle. Today we have with us Kareth Coburn, Senior Program Director with the YMCA of South Florida, Elizabeth Durante, Senior Program Manager at Hispanic Unity of Florida, Thomas Carell, Assistant Principal at MacArthur High School, and our own Carl Dassey, Community Systems Administrator with the Children's Services Council of Broward County, who is also the Program Director for the BOSS program. Welcome everyone, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Cindy.
Carl, I want to start with you because we've been on this odyssey together for the last 3 years. And when the whole P3 concept was first introduced, we started looking at what happens to young people when they have to decide between academics and workforce preparation. Can you talk a little bit about what was going on at that time and why we thought that was important to blend?
Certainly, Cindy. It'd be my honor to. Several years ago, what we found was that young people at a high school, let's say Boyd Anderson High School, for example, have the opportunity to participate in one of the CSC 21st Century out-of-school time programs where they get all kinds of academic supports and personal enrichments to help them graduate high school, but they were not able to participate in the existing Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act funded program that was also at the school through the school board that was also out-of-school time that really focused in on career readiness and job development. So what happened is youth had to choose which one of these 2 services they wanted to do. To make matters worse, both programs didn't have any real day school supports for these young people. So there was this sort of lack of coordination with the students' progress and programs they need to use for the day school, what was happening with them after school, plus they were forced to make this detrimental choice between working, getting stuff to actually graduate, get the diploma, or working on a program that actually helped them find a way into college or find a meaningful career pathway.
And I had the opportunity to go to DC and actually talk to people about this concept. And I like to tell them it was about making the programs fit the child, not making the child fit the programs. Obviously, we want to help our kids get whatever supports they need so that they can succeed. And you clearly grasp that. So we are doing this, which has just about to kick off in 6 high schools. Can you tell us which ones?
Sure. We have the wonderful opportunity to do this at Boyd Anderson High School, Deerfield Beach High School, Miramar High School, Piper High School, Plantation High School, and MacArthur High School, which is wonderful because the CSC has heavily invested with 2 of our service providers, the YMCA of South Florida and also Hispanic Unity of Florida, who are currently running programs which we will now be creating, emerging with these different federal dollars to create the BOSS program.
Which brings us to why the rest of you are here today, because you're actually going to be making this happen. Now, Tom, it's your school where this is going on, and you've been involved with CSC and 21st Century and Youth Force for many years. Tell us what you hope to see happen, what you've seen go on at your schools, and what you hope to see happen at MacArthur as this is
Absolutely. I'm actually one of the 6 schools that have been chosen, and we are thankful for that. I've actually had the opportunity to work with both programs, the YMCA as well as Hispanic Unity in the past over about the last 10 years. And one of the things I will say is that from a school standpoint, I know that we really focus on the personalization period. And I heard you mention that we need to find the programs to fit the child, and not the child to fit the program. And as a school, your school day only has so many hours that you can fit into it, and we really focus on that academic piece for most of that day. But from a standpoint of making it a personalized component, that's where this program comes in. It allows us to take what normally would be 2,400 students, that it's hard and it's a challenge when you have limited counselors to focus on maybe 500 or 550 kids within their class, and allow them to focus on maybe 70, or a ratio of 1 to 35. And then that's where it becomes personalized. And what's more important than having the relationship piece and allowing that case management component to really build into knowing the child, understanding the child, really diving into their academic success and what they're going to do post high school. Because for a lot of our students, and we had talked about this earlier, it's what do I do next? We have a graduation coming up on June 5th. And while we had our academic signing day, I believe just yesterday, the day before, there are still a handful of students who are looking to say, what do I do next? And that's where a program like this allows for the case management to really build the rapport with the students, the understanding of the students, to say that come June 6th, that day after graduation, there's something for you, and there's a next step, and there's something else that you could do. And that's why we're really excited to begin the implementation of the program.
So Elizabeth, in the 21st century programs that you've been running so far, they were limited by federal rules to only happening in after-school time. You couldn't get involved with the child during the school day. I mean, this is true for both programs. But now, through this blending of funding and the waiver of the rules, you're going to have case managers that will be working with the young people during the day. And what do you hope to see happen? How do you think that will enhance the work that you're doing?
Well, just the addition of the case management piece is going to be, we're hopeful that it's going to be a great enhancement to the program that was already successful to start with. I think the presence of the case managers at the schools during the day, and this is with the blessing of the principals, it's going to give them a wonderful opportunity, because there are so many hours during the day for you to do your job. So I truly believe that my experience working with case management that goes back to more than 8 years is that the principals and the administrators at the schools, they very much welcome the component because it's support what they are doing already at the school, and they know it's going to benefit the students in a great way. The students will be able to count with, in addition to what the school already has, the students will be able to count on somebody who will be there to walk them through step by step. And we have, at Hispanic Unity, we have hired a couple of very experienced case managers, and that will be coaching the students throughout the school day and in the after-school program.
You know, I'm really glad you used the word coach, because even as I was listening to it, and from where we sit when planning, we use the term case manager, and that could be a little off-putting for the children or the families, and saying, I'm not a case, I'm a person.
Right.
And so it really is about being a coach. It's about understanding what that child, what that family may need, and helping to guide them and support them through the process, right?
Yeah. Correct.
At Boyd Anderson, we had the privilege of introducing a 9th grade academy last summer. And one of the things we're able to do is assign a 21st century teacher to follow the students during the course of the school day. And the results were phenomenal. What we found was these are 9th graders, and before the first day of school, they were able to get the 40 hours of community service that they required to graduate. They were able to do their online course that they required to graduate before starting school on the first day. Wow. So initiatives like those, we think they're going to be possible as a result of having P3, where the case managers are going to be working with the students and finding out what are their needs and working towards ensuring that they're on track for graduation and post-secondary success.
And to add to that, the relationships we're talking about as a coaching relationship is critical. But by creating that coaching relationship, that relationship between the so-called case manager and the youth they'll be assigned, it really allows that case manager to work directly with the youth and the interventions going on at the school. So in addition to developing a personal relationship to help the kid overcome the hurdles, It's to help them overcome the hurdles by working with the programs the school's already doing, whether it be the RTI process, the school social workers, or actually interventing directly with the teachers to say, listen, Johnny, who I'm working with, really doesn't understand this concept in algebra. Can we schedule some extra tutoring with him after school? So that relationship is key, but also as key is having contact with the existing school interventions.
And one of the things I'm really excited about is the integration of the workforce component, of that vision. I remember 30 years ago when I first got involved in this work, trying to look at what would help a child from their perspective. What they said they needed was a vision for their future. They really couldn't see anything beyond flipping burgers or perhaps getting involved in activities that might not be so pro-social. So how do you view that idea of that job readiness, workforce skill that now you'll be able to integrate into the program?
I can actually talk about that from a school standpoint. I think one of the words that continues to be discussed is resources. And as a school, I think the number one thing is to get kids to be exposed to opportunities. Because when I talk to the current seniors that I have, as I tell them that you really don't know everything that exists out there. And building a program like this into our school to allow them to be there in the day when our kids are there. Because the challenge is a lot of these students that we are talking about do have additional responsibilities such as work after school. And staying for that additional 2.5 hours after school could be a challenge. However, when you couple the two facts, one with our school personally going to a schedule where we built in a personalization period for all of our students, and two, now bringing in additional resources through this grant to allow the two to mesh together. And I think the one thing it's going to do is it's going to provide more exposure to opportunities for the kids to know exactly what is out there. Because a lot of the times, and our brace advisors do amazing jobs, but with so many kids, that's really limited in as much as they could get out to them. So it just gives us more of an opportunity to really, again, or have that exposure and have the students exposed to opportunities.
Speaking of exposure, one of the fun things that has been integrated into the program already, and I know is going to grow, is the maritime, the marine industries work. And it may be shocking to some of our viewers to know that here we are living in Florida with all of this coast, and yet we have many children who have never been to the beach. And so the idea of getting involved in maritime anything would be quite foreign. And yet we have introduced that marine sciences component. I'm not sure, I forget which schools have that already.
Oh, we did it at Stranahan, and we're ready to do it again. It was pretty successful and very much liked by all the students. They really enjoyed, and they discovered something, they learned some things that they never knew existed with all that ocean that we have around us. They didn't know, yeah.
And Carl, that marine industries tie was something that you found, and for other businesses or business people who may be watching, how could they get engaged and do something similar to help the young people?
Well, I think that the first thing, I'd love to take credit for it, but credit for it actually goes to Andrew Leone. He actually created the relationship. And I think that's what matters with the CSC is we have our Public Affairs and Organizational Development department. And if there's businesses out there that want to work with educational programs, want to work with our providers, first approach Andrew and Sandra. That's how they came to me. What we then did is we worked with them and we sat down and figured out what they were trying to do. Then we sat down with Hispanic Union of Florida, sat down with the school principal, sat down with the administrator, the site lead running the program, and Michelle Haynes, who works with Hispanic Union of Florida, and Elizabeth and I, and the general person from the Marine Industry Cares Foundation developed an adept program where a wonderful thing happened. He brought in industry experts in the marine industries in South Florida. They talked to the kids about simple concepts. They then took the kids to actual job sites, had them look at local employers, learn how to mill propellers, learn how to build dockage, learn how to do a ship captain's license program. They took the kids back into school and they did hands-on activities tied to that. A sort of similar thing is occurring with a lot of hard work by Mr. Carell here, and I'll have Tommy talk more about that. If you go ahead and give some more information about that.
I would. What we're trying to do is we're trying to target right now within 4 schools because it's the first time that we're doing it. So the scope of it's pretty narrow and we're hoping to really expand it. But with Commissioner Beam Furs innovation and ideas in partnership with us. He's established a foundation that we're actually coupling 4 schools, which would be MacArthur, South Broward, Hollywood Hills, and Hollandale. And we're targeting select students to actually come out for a day where it's not just like a job fair, but what it is students will create a survey, what they do online, and it really targets their interest. And then what they'll do is they'll be exposed to a presentation of what that might be. For an example of that, you might be hospitality. And they would go into a certain area and hear about hospitality, but not only that, the additional piece is that they'd also find out how they could grow from a career side. What certifications do they need? So if they do start out at a base level, what do they need to get to the top level? So we're going to have 2 in there. We're going to have someone from the industry speak, as well as someone from the college and the career side to speak about how they can move themselves into I guess a higher level within the position. And secondly, what they're going to do then is be given opportunities to go and actually have jobs. And there will be multiple agencies there signing them up. We have worked with plumbers and construction and hospitality, and the list goes on. And they're going to sign up then and there and hopefully have themselves a job. But in addition to that, to even back it out, is that we're going to have, I believe Hispanic Unity is a part of that, to come in and really teach our students prior to that day the soft skills that they need to be successful. How do I need to dress when I go into this? What are my interview skills that I need to know before I even walk into that? And I think a program like this, when I think about it from a school standpoint, I think that this is what this grant's going to provide us to do year long. Although this is just one day and one event, I think that we're now going to build this idea in to, especially at MacArthur High School, a year long, where we're learning soft skills through the resources that these agencies can provide us. So we're really looking forward to that.
Well, you know, the CSC likes to plant seeds and demonstrate that things can work and be there at the ground, so that then we can show others how they can help build on it. And I do hope that this will eventually lead to work happening everywhere. Kareth, the Y is at 5 of the 6 schools that are going to be doing this. So what's your vision for how you're going to merge this workforce piece and the academics?
So I'll share a story. A few years ago, we had a student who was real smart, wanted to be a pharmacist. However, she said she has never spoken with a pharmacist, never met a pharmacist. And I was thinking to myself, you know, there's pharmacists in Walmart, they're all over the place. How can we make this happen? So having our case managers working with our students really presents the opportunity for them to develop that intimate relationship, personal relationship with the students, and find out what are their needs and fulfill those needs. What are their dreams? What are their aspirations? What are their career goals? So those are things that the case managers are going to be directed at fostering and hopefully help these students stay on track for graduation and post-secondary success. Because many of our students, you know, they're in the moment and they're enjoying the high school experience. They're not thinking about next year when I graduate or 3 years when I graduate, but the planning actually starts now. And case managers working with them, collaborating with the parents, administrators, I think that's going to make a world of difference, not just for them staying on track for graduation, but having a post-secondary success.
And for something like that, when you know that math is going to be important, it makes going to that grinding math class be a little bit more real and a little bit more purposeful. What are you trying to get in?
Yeah, one of the things I was going to add is one of the things that case managers will be doing with these young people is using some of the existing supports that already exist. For example, the school district just implemented the Naviance software package platform. And what will happen is the case managers will sit down with the kids, set a group of tasks up depending upon their grade level, and these tasks are designed to help these kids develop a career pathway. The kids do a career interest survey. They also do an aptitude test to allow the youth to be exposed to careers they may or may not know about, at the same time allowing the software using existing psychosocial instruments to determine what type of careers they actually have a natural aptitude and gift to do. Those programs will then help the kids working with the case managers to then reach out and say, listen, maybe if you really do like law enforcement, instead of just doing CSI, which everyone sees on TV, maybe really what you could do would be specialized testing for the use of synthetic marijuana or something like that, something very specialized that never knew existed in specific careers. On top of that, the case managers will be responsible working with the youth not just to use Naviance, but also to make sure the kids are enrolling in CSE's Summer Youth Employment Program for on-the-job work experience, where they actually have a 3-day seminar about certain jobs, soft skills, how to talk to employers, what type of clothes to wear, how to present yourself, how to act professionally. At the same time, they're also going to work with these youth to refer them to another thing that'll be happening at these BOSS schools, which is a network for teaching entrepreneurial education, which is a program where youth are actually given a paid stipend to show up for 6 weeks, 4 days a week, 4 hours a day. In essence, they learn how to do market research and how to develop an idea they have to start a business, and are taught the process to create and establish a business plan that they then fully develop, compete in a competition, and the winners of this competition receive startup funds. But similar to this SYEP program is sort of what Hispanic Union of Florida does with their Center for Working Families.
Correct. I wanted to add that we have been exposing our students from the middle school component in the youth force through the case management, and also through bringing visitors to speak with the students and inspire them. We truly believe that the sooner we expose them, the better prepared they will be in transitioning to post-secondary education. When we meet with the students in the youth force in the middle school level, we realize that these kids sometimes have to be explained what a goal is. When we try to build a case plan with them, they have a hard time expressing themselves because they don't really know what a goal is. They don't see past today. So we work with them on that. By the time we get to high school, I am so excited that the case managers are going to be there now, because we will be able to continue the work that we started in the middle school. It's going to be a lot easier for them. And what we have done with the Center for Working Families, which is a program that is at the agency for the public, we have brought that couple of pieces from the Center for Working Families to the schools. We have brought the experience of the financial literacy coach and the workforce coach. And for a year and a half, I think, we have been bringing workshops to them on a weekly basis. We have done cohorts where the students participate, and the coaches have been like really instrumental in their process for them to be better informed. They have done the mock interviews. They have taught them how to prepare the resume, do job search online, and generally get them ready to face. And then in the financial literacy component, they learn how to build and follow a budget, the responsible use of a credit card. So we're doing all of that, and this is what will continue to happen through the case management piece at Miramar, hopefully.
And also, I think for our students, we find that sometimes they're missing the deadlines for submitting applications, whether for financial aid or for university. And having case management services, it means that the case manager is going to be in touch with the parents, constantly ensuring that the student is on track. And so whatever they need as far as meeting these deadlines, that's going to happen. And some of our students actually find themselves in university, and they need to submit their application so that they get the financial aid for the following year, and they miss those deadlines and end up dropping out of university. So all that is unfortunate. So having this kind of program helps us sensitize students to the importance of timing and being proactive for their own success.
We have about a minute left, so go ahead.
I was going to say that as a mother, I think what he's saying is super important. It was overwhelming for me, the process of putting my 3 kids through college. I think the case management piece closes that circle between the school, the parents, and the students. Parents need to get involved and support the students, and the students need to communicate and rely on parents as much as they will with us at the school and with the case management. So it's an exciting opportunity.
Millions of dollars of Pell Grants are being left on the table in Washington because people aren't filling out those
Correct.
forms. And so if you're a parent out there of a child who's ready to go to college, make sure you fill out those forms
Correct.
and look for all the assistance that you can get to make that happen. Bringing P3 to Broward County was a very complex undertaking, requiring the commitment of many community and government partners. I have to give a shout out to my friends at CareerSource who partnered with us to bring this together. I'm really excited about seeing it take root. P3, or BOSS, is conceived on the notion that local solutions need to be generated locally, a lot like what makes CSCs successful. We believe the BOSS program will change the lives of many Broward County youth, and after hearing this, I hope you believe it too. I want to thank Kerith Coburn, Elizabeth Durante, Thomas Carell, and Carl Dassey for their input and their organization's support of the BOSS program. For copies of this program or any other episode of Future First, go to our YouTube library through our website, cscbroward.org. Like us on Facebook, and remember to join us next time on Future First, Focus on Broward's Children.